Chapter 17. As soon as I got back to the campground, I found Topher in the tent area. Handing over the 2 USB sticks, I let him know what they contained. "This is great," affirmed Topher as he grabbed his laptop and we headed toward the office to get good internet connection. "I can send all the information to George and the accountants. They've been working together and are coming up with a solid case against Boggs." "Good," I nodded. "However, we are having problems getting the information we need from the education board." "What sort of problem?" wondered Topher. "We can get a person in to talk with Towns with a legitimate excuse. We can distract Towns. Yet, if the laptop is password encoded, then there's no way we can just copy the files we need to," I explained. "That is a problem," agreed Topher. He pulled out his cell phone and dialed the number. "Hey, Ben, can you still break passwords?" "Topher, I don't hack computers anymore," the disembodied voice of Ben gently warned over the phone. "Since when?" questioned Topher. "Since several departments of the United States government told me if I wanted to remain a regular citizen, I should behave myself," replied Ben. "Otherwise, I might find myself voluntold to be a recruit to one of their more secretive programs." "Oh," a disappointed Topher said. "That's too bad. I was hoping you could break us into the Slimeball's computer so we could copy some files." "As fun as it might be, I can't. I'm already on a few dozen watch lists. I do anything illegal in the computer world, and no one will ever see me again," a regretful Ben stated. "Sorry, buddy." "Not a problem," sighed Topher. "We'll figure something out." "If you need any other help with the Slimeball, let me know," offered Ben. "Will do," promised Topher as he ended the call. "Ben is a hacker?" I asked doubtfully. I remember the guys Topher had brought along with him to the campground, and I couldn't see any of them doing nefarious activities. They all seemed so nice, nerdy, and sweet. "He used to be," replied Topher, opening the door of the office so I could go first. "Once he hacked into the entire school system, just before the yearbook was set to be sent to the publisher. We changed all sorts of stuff, and when it was published, the school was not impressed. I believe we switched out the prom queen and king's pictures to the worst ones we could find on the internet of the pair of them. A few other somewhat harmless substitutions were made." "Oh dear," I grinned. "I bet you were in a lot of trouble in school." "Straight-A students," protested Topher with a grin. "And before you ask, Ben never changed any of our grades despite how many times John asked." I laughed, petting Cupcake and Cookie as the 2 doggies came over, stubby tails wagging. "Hi, Conrad. How was your day?"
"Cop started following me around," grunted Conrad as he wrote a word in the crossword puzzle of the newspaper. "It was a regular circus. Cop following me while I followed Eugene Towns around town."
"That must have been something to see." Topher plugged in the laptop and got to work.
"You know, I have been thinking," commented Conrad, setting down his newspaper. "All we need is enough proof to implicate Boggs, Burmer, and those with him. We don't need everything. All we need to do is start an investigation by the big guys. The state or the FBI can carry on our work as long as we get Burmer and Boggs, plus get Detective Armand out of prison."
"Maybe we do have enough evidence," I mused, "depending on what we find on the 2 USBs I got today." "Then I better get the files to the accountants," remarked Topher. "Then we can see if we have enough to get an investigation going through official channels." "I hope so," I murmured. I left Topher working on transferring the files. Conrad said he would lock up the office after they finished, so I grabbed Cookie and Cupcake for a walk. Somehow it was even hotter than it had been before, despite the sun being blotted out with dark clouds. The air was still and muggy. Finally, it felt like the often-promised storm might finally come and break the heat. "Hi, Ivy." Bee loaded a box into the trunk of her car. She squinted at the sky. "Oh dear, I was hoped to get this done before it rained. I hate driving in the rain." "I could come with you if you would like," I offered. "Where are you going?" "To the community center," explained Bee. "I borrowed a few things for the protests. They need to get back today as tomorrow there's a dinner." "Would you like me to drive?" I asked. "Thank you, Ivy," sighed a relieved Bee. "I would very much appreciate it. I don't know why, but driving the rain just isn't my thing. I've been that way ever since I got a license." "Let me bring the dogs to my trailer, then we can go." I tugged on Cookie's leash.
"Oh, let them come with," responded Bee with a smile. "They can keep us company."
We loaded up the last of the boxes, and Bee handed me the keys. Cookie and Cupcake wandered to the back seat, looking out the windows as we drove. I brought Bee up on the details of the case. "Sounds like you have something solid. Are you going to reach out to the state police?" questioned Bee. "State police, the reporters, anyone who will listen," I sighed. "As soon as George and the accountants can figure out if money has been taken from the parks and recreation as well as the Oaks Crossing books, we can get other people involved." I pulled up to the back parking lot of the Oaks Crossing Town Community Center. Bee unlocked the back door and put on the lights as I grabbed a box from the trunk of the car. "So, what's the deal with you and Herb?" I teased a little. "Are you dating?" Bee blushed. "We're spending a little more time together. People my age don't date." "Why not?" I asked curiously. "I thought Thelma and George were dating." "Dating is for young folk," responded Bee as she opened the supply closet. "It has all sorts of expectations. I don't date anymore. In fact, I don't think I ever really dated." "I thought you were married." I frowned a little. "How do you get married without ever dating?" "My husband, bless his soul, was my friend," explained Bee. "We never formally went out on a date or anything. We were in our 20s. He broached the topic of getting married. Everyone else of our acquaintance was, so we thought we should too." "You didn't love him?" I wondered as we grabbed more boxes. "I certainly did," replied Bee. "Love just came later, after we were married. We had a good time, my John and me." I digested this, wondering what it might be like to marry someone you were simply friends with. I supposed a lot of people did it, and I wouldn't hold the idea against them. Friendship was a solid basis of any relationship. "You won't have to worry." Bee gave me a crafty look. "There is a spark between you and Luca." "Hey," I put the brakes on her line of thinking. "Luca and I just figured out we like each other. Neither of us is looking to get married." "It doesn't take long to know if someone is the one you're going to be with for the rest of your life," warned Bee with a smile. Cookie growled as I set another box in the supply closet. I looked at her in surprise. "What is it?" The little dog continued to look out of the supply closet door, growling low in her throat while Cupcake hovered behind me. "Do they hear something?" wondered Bee as she set her box on a shelf. We both listened as voices came to us. "Think they own the hydro company, leaving the lights on," a man said in disgust as the front doors to the community center were opened. "I tell you, these old ladies are entitled." "They're also voting for Tawny Tilbury," another voice was annoyed. "What sort of town bylaws give the opportunity for someone to join the mayoral race so late in the election? It's just stupid. That is one of the first things I'm going to fix around here." A man laughed. "Right after we robbed the town blind." I carefully nudged the supply closet door until it was almost closed, motioning for Bee to turn off the lights so the men wouldn't notice us. Peeking through the crack in the door, I saw Burmer, Boggs, Towns, and Jefferson at a table, each with a box. "Mark up the ballots, put them in the ballot box here, and during election day we just add it to the group," remarked Boggs, "ensuring we all get the positions we deserve." Bee gasped beside me. "They're rigging the vote!" Cookie growled again, and I quickly picked her up, putting a hand on her muzzle. "Did you hear something?" asked Towns. The man looked around. "Where's Salter, anyhow?" "He had something going on with the wife," grumbled Jefferson. "A man is whipped," huffed Burmer as he used a ballpoint pen to scratch an X on a ballot. "Have you met Mrs. Salter?" chuckled Towns. "All I can say is I'm happy I'm not married to her." Grabbing my cell phone out of my pocket, I carefully extended it out the door, taking photos of them marking ballots. Cookie shifted in my arms, causing me to almost lose my grip on my phone. I tried to grab the little dog so she wouldn't fall, but she leapt forward, barking. "What is that?" questioned a suspicious Boggs. "Oh dear," breathed Bee, clutching Cupcake's leash. "Get behind the boxes," I hissed at her. "Hide!" "Too late!" An angry Burmer opened the door and flicked on the lights. Quickly I shoved my phone behind my back. "Well, well, who do we have here?" smiled Boggs as he advanced on us. "The ever-intrusive Miss Ivy Thurman and one of her senior sleuths, spying on us again." "We were just returning some tablecloths," mentioned Bee in a trembling voice. "You expect me to believe that excuse?" snorted Counselor Boggs, "when you and your band of people have been following us around town for the past 2 days?" "You had the police following me," I pointed out, pulling on Cookie's leash as she snarled at Burmer. "Bee and I will be leaving now." "Don't think so,"
Burmer put his arm in my way, blocking the doorway. "I think you have interfered in things enough." "As you've said, people have been following you around town." I looked to Boggs, trying to talk my way out of this even as my fingers skipped along the screen of my phone behind my back. "Which means there are people outside the community center right now who know that I am here. You need to let us go."
"I ran those people away with threats of stalking earlier this afternoon," smiled Burmer. "No one is following us. No one knows that you are here." "What should we do with them? Obviously they've seen us marking the ballots," added Jefferson. "You just couldn't leave it alone, could you?" sighed Boggs. "You put Detective Armand in prison," I retorted. "I had to get involved. Perhaps you should have picked a different town, one where the citizens aren't as close or concerned with each other's welfare."
"Maybe," nodded Boggs.
"Or maybe Burmer can just dispose of you and my problem is all taken care of."
B gasped. "You sound like a poorly written villain."
"I think we could arrange an accident in the rain," decided Burmer. "Everyone would understand the unfortunate accident of a senior citizen driving through the storm and accidentally going off the embankment at the turn just outside of town."
"Killing us isn't going to change the fact that you're going to lose the election and go to jail," I told him. "We have evidence the financial records of various departments in town have been tampered with and money is missing. You can't cover it up."
"Impossible," laughed Boggs. "You're bluffing."
"I'm not," I said confidently. "There are invoices which are forged. We have an entire accounting team looking at them, piecing together how much you have stolen."
"You're kidding," breathed Boggs in surprise. "Which departments?" casually asked Burmer.
"Does it matter?" I asked, entirely uncertain why he had asked.
"It does,"
firmly stated Burmer as he pulled a gun out of the holster on his hip. He pointed it at B.
"Which departments did you find the records for?"
"Parks and Recreation." I carefully stepped in front of B. "The police department and the town of Oaks Crossing. We have the financial records for those departments and can prove the embezzlement."
"Who has the records?" Boggs wanted to know. "What accounting team?"
"George Kershaw and the accounting team who works for Topher Welland, who is corporate lawyer," I explained.
"This is bad," a nervous Jefferson said. "If this gets leaked out, we could be facing prison time." "We need to do damage control," growled Boggs. "Yeah," nodded Burner in agreement as he thought. "Jefferson, get something to tie these two up with."
"What?" Jefferson blinked in surprise.
"Do it!" yelled Burmer. "Go with the original idea," decided Boggs. "Make it look like a car accident for these two. Then we can figure out how to make this work to our advantage." "Wickham was embezzling. Towns was in on it," decided Burmer. "So was the former chief of police. We caught them all. We will be the heroes."
Jefferson held up a roll of duct tape. "What do you mean, you caught Slater?"
"He will have to be prosecuted," nodded Boggs. "It is unfortunate, but we all knew the risks."
"What about me?" wondered Jefferson, becoming suspicious. "They have the books from my department. Does that mean you're going to arrest me too? I can tell you right now, I'm not going to go down for this alone. I'll take both of you down with me."
"No, you won't," said Burmer as he turned, firing the gun.
B shrieked and Cookie lunged forward, biting Burmer in the leg. He kicked out at the dog, but Cookie evaded him. "Run!" I grabbed B by the arm and tugged hard on Cookie's leash, hoping to get away in the confusion.
"Stay right where you are!" shouted Burmer.
It was followed by a gunshot, and B froze automatically, making me stop as well. "You can't shoot us," I reasoned as Burmer pointed the gun at us again. "Not if we were supposed to be in a car accident. It wouldn't look right." "How are you going to explain shooting Mr. Jefferson?" wondered B.
"He resisted arrest," said Burmer flatly. "He had a gun. It was unfortunate."
Boggs looked down at Jefferson with a grimace.
"He would have ratted us out."
"How are you certain neither of you will rat the other one out?" I wondered, playing for time. "The minute your backs are turned, you could be throwing each other under the bus."
"Duct tape them," ordered Burmer. "I'll see to the accident. We'll have to postpone the election, since I'll be arresting Whitcomb." "Then I will be acting mayor of Oaks Crossing," declared Boggs as he grabbed the duct tape. He came forward, grabbing my hand. "What have we here? A cell phone? Who were you calling, Ivy?" I honestly didn't know who I had called. I just hoped someone would recognize what was happening and call for help. Or better yet, rally the troops and come. I stayed silent as he looked at the screen.
Warren? Do you know a Warren? Boggs looked to Burmer.
He is some rookie cop at the station, scoffed Burmer, wet behind the ears.
Is he going to be a problem? Questioned Boggs.
No, decided Burmer. Tape their hands. Boggs ended the call and pocketed my phone.
Put out your hands.
B and I reluctantly complied, letting the councilman tape our wrists together. Burmer ushered us out into the back parking lot at gunpoint. The wind was picking up, starting to blow hard, and every so often a raindrop fell from the black sky. He pushed B into the back seat of her car.
Open the trunk.
Why? I asked. I took out B's keys and deliberately fumbled, then dropped them. Oops.
Pick them up, an impatient Burmer said.
I reached down for the keys, scanning the area for a storm drain to throw them down as Burmer hit the button to open the trunk. Unfortunately, the lot was just pavement.
Hey, you can't do that, I protested as Burmer grabbed Cookie and Cupcake by their harnesses, putting them into the trunk of the car.
Get in the car, Burmer ordered as he shut the truck lid on the two barking dogs.
It won't make any sense if my dogs are in the trunk of the car. I would never put them there, and everyone knows it. I slid behind the wheel. Anyone who sees the accident scene is going to know that.
I own the police force, Burmer reminded me.
Where your mutts are won't be a concern.
He sat in the back seat next to B, holding her at gunpoint.
Drive. Boggs will follow us.
I need my hands untied, I told him, trying to insert the key with trembling hands.
It's not going to happen, grunted Burmer. Drive nice and slow. I'll tell you where to stop.
I knew where he was thinking of taking us. There was a steep embankment just outside of town. The road had no guardrails, and it would be easy enough for a vehicle to go off the roadway in bad weather. A wind gust blew at the car, shoving it over the yellow line, and we weren't even out at Oaks Crossing yet.
Burmer, you don't have to kill us, B spoke up.
We're just two silly women. Who's going to listen to us? Burmer had an unamused laugh.
Face it, this is the end of the line for you both.
I was going to have to wreck B's car, I decided. Better to hit something and thwart Burmer's plan than to go flying down into a gully and not even have a chance at living. I was giving myself a pep talk to work up the nerve to hit a tree or maybe the Oaks Crossing sign as we were leaving town, when a huge burst of wind tore off the crafty corner sign and it careened into the hood of the car. I hit the brakes. Oh, my word! The sign was embedded in the metal of the car hood, sticking up and blocking my view.
Go outside and pull it out of the car, growled Burmer.
Are you kidding me? I squeaked as the gun pressed against my shoulder.
Go, he roared.
I can't. I burst into tears, sobbing. My hands are tied. I have a broken ankle. The wind is too strong. The sign is too heavy for me.
For pity's sake, Burmer growled.
He got out of the vehicle and fought against the wind, trying to get the sign out of the hood of the car.
Hold on, B. I immediately sobered and put the car in reverse.
Flooring the gas pedal, I tried my best to steer while looking at my mirrors.
I will lock the doors, gasped B as she undid her seatbelt. He's not getting back in.
You should wear your seatbelt, I admonished as the rain suddenly let loose from the sky, coming down in torrents. I'm not very good at reversing even with two hands not duct taped together. In fact, I could barely even see with the streetlights shining. The rain was coming down so hard. The wind buffeted at us again, and that was when the car ran over someone's recycling box, which hadn't been properly stowed away before the wind flung it around. The old Buick lurched at a funny angle as it hit the hard plastic, then stopped, a back wheel up in the air, tire spinning.
Oh, dear, murmured B as the
flashing lights of a cop car pulled up behind us. B hadn't had time to lock my door, and so it was whipped open, a flashlight shining into my face as I held my taped hands up in surrender. Don't shoot, I cried, please.
Ivy?
It was Warren from the police department who opened the door to B's car. After cutting our duct tape bonds and rescuing Cupcake and Cookie from the trunk of the car, he hustled us to the nearby coffee shop that was still open to sit out the storm.
Where's Burmer? Asked Warren.
I don't know. I motioned up the street. We left him part way up the road. Boggs was supposed to be behind us in his car, but I didn't see him. Maybe he got lost in all the rain.
We caught Boggs at the community center, explained Warren before he called in Burmer's suspected location over his radio.
Is that wise? I questioned. What about the police officers who are with Burmer? The state police are in charge now," explained Warren. "Been in contact with a couple of state troopers to try to get them to investigate what's happening here in Oaks Crossing. When you called and I knew you were in danger, I turned it into a conference call with the state police. With everything Burmer and Boggs said, plus the attempted murder of Mr. Jefferson, we can put them behind bars for a long time." "Jefferson isn't dead?" a surprised Bee wondered. "He's very lucky," said Warren. "Or unlucky, if you remember he was going to jail as well." "We also have the financial records, which prove they were embezzling funds from the town," I informed him. "And they were going to fix the election so they could win." "I think all their names are about to be pulled from the ballots," grinned Warren in satisfaction. "When will Luca be released?" I asked as a clap of thunder shook the air. "It might take a couple of days," replied Warren. "Once the evidence is processed and the state troopers realize it was Burmer and not Detective Armand who messed around with police department finances, they'll let him go." I nodded, relieved at his assurances. "It's over, then." Bee wrapped an arm around me. I leaned on her, hugging Cupcake and Cookie to me.